and Mila. We just want to welcome you to the DC. It's a really great school. I can say that because every year has been fantastic for me. So yeah, just have a great day. Thank you guys for coming.
Okay, good morning and an official good morning and welcome to all of our new families. It's amazing to see you all here in Orlando, to look at now perhaps. Thanks guys. Fahad, can you hear me okay at the back? A huge welcome and a huge thanks for your patience. Obviously this isn't the ideal way of starting a new academic year. We'd much rather be doing it in a different venue. In different circumstances, but it is what it is. We toyed with the idea of do we do this or not, because of obviously the current circumstances, but we felt it was really important that we meet you and that your children come to school, albeit for a small short of time today, for a number of reasons. The first reason is obviously for all of your children, it's a new experience, it's a new environment, and it's the perfect storm because obviously we're living in very uncertain times. So we felt that by giving them that hour or so with their new class teacher or the new tutor, it would just alleviate any of the anxieties that they may have before we start officially on Sunday. We also feel it's really important to make that connection with you. I've been at the school for a year now as a principal. I joined from KL, where I was principal 3 years. Before that, I was in Dubai British School for 8 years as principal. So I'm familiar with Dubai. But the main attraction for me when I was asked to come to DC was the community, the spirit of the school, the sense of community, and those very, very special relationships that we have in the school. I've enjoyed, I say 12 months, I guess it's 6 months before we went online, but working with the parents, working with the staff, working with the students has been probably one of the most exciting parts of my career to date. It is a very special community. I'm going to talk a little bit later on about social capital, and you all probably know what that means. Social capital is basically about relationships, and the best and the most successful organisations have high social capital. That means relationships are really strong, and that's at all levels, parents, staff, students. And this school has very, very high social capital, and we leverage that because it means that it will have a really positive impact on your children. And that's why we felt this was important. It's the start of that relationship with you for a crucial part of the process that your children are about to go through for the coming years. You are a key partner in this relationship with us and with your children. So a big welcome, and thank you for being patient. As per my communication last night, you'll be aware that we even had to change arrangement for today because of things that suddenly started happening out at the front of the school. So obviously it's put a lot of strain on people, but we felt we still wanted to do this because we do feel it's really important. So thank you for your patience. Today obviously there is a certain degree of sitting and listening, but we do thank you for coming in and making the effort. So why are you here? Well, you've chosen English College, and no doubt you've all spent a lot of time looking at the options, considering the options, and deciding on what is the best fit for your child. We've got two things in common here. First of all, we all agree the power of education. As Nelson Mandela said, it's the most powerful tool for change. So everybody in this room understands and believes strongly in the importance of a good education. And the second thing we have in common is we all believe that the English College is going to provide that. I wouldn't have come if I didn't believe that. You wouldn't have committed to us if you did. I'm sure you've all seen our mission and our vision on our website. And like all schools, we have a very powerful and a very ambitious vision and mission. So basically, we want to provide an excellent, outstanding education for your child. We want to develop them as academic characters and happy. And for us, that's really important. Happy is a bit of a contentious word. But one of our priorities, and that's why you're here today, is to make sure that your children feel safe and they feel happy, secure and protected. Because if they don't, they won't learn. So not only do we want academic excellence, we want to underpin that with children that are happy, confident and fulfilled. And we talk a lot about excellence, and again I stress that you're all here because you're not just thinking about academic excellence. It's not just about grades. They're important, it would be naive not to think so, but it's a bigger picture than that. More and more employers, universities are looking at grades, but unlike previous years when we were at school, they're also looking at those other skills and characteristics and attributes that your children have, because there are lots of highly qualified people in the world at the moment. But what we're looking for is people with those skills and attributes that set them aside. They're the people that cope, adapt, they're resilient enough to deal with things like this, what's going on in the world at the moment. So as a school, not only do we want to prepare your children to succeed academically, but we see it as crucially important that we help them develop those skills, those interests, those passions that are going to set them up for the rest of their lives and help them to be successful and happy and fulfilled people. You'll no doubt have seen our 5 pillars. I'm not going to go through all of those now, but there's some key threads there that you'll hear every time we meet with you. We'll talk a lot about high expectations in this school, and if any of you joined us for our open days, our virtual open days, you'll have heard all of my leadership team use the word high expectations a number of times. There's a lot of research that shows that if we have high expectations of your children, and we believe in them, and they know that, and they feel that, then the research shows that that will have a very, very positive benefit on their achievement. It's called the Pygmalion effect, and the research is resounding. The Pygmalion effect is if we believe in your child, we have high expectations, and we don't accept anything less, and you are doing the same at home, then it will have a very, very positive impact on their achievements. And again, that might be in the classroom, it might be on the rugby pitch, it might be playing an instrument, it might be creating a piece of art. So high expectations is one of our 5 pillars that helps us to achieve our mission and vision. Quality teaching. I'm going to talk a little bit later on in the presentation about some of our agenda as a school for the next year. And I'll be talking a little bit about quality teaching, because obviously it underpins everything we do. It's all very well to talk about holistic, it's all very well to talk about developing character, developing skills, but at the end of the day we all expect that your children deserve high quality teaching. We put our students first. I mentioned social capital, and I mentioned the strength of this community. That's because we are all committed to each and every child. Each and every child should get a personalised experience that meets their needs, their passions and their expectations. So no matter which teacher your child is working with this year, they should receive quality teaching, and their student will be put first, and your child will be put first. Every decision we make as a leadership team, even at senior leadership level, the decisions we make are always underpinned by how is this the best thing for the children. Leadership. There's a lot of talk about leadership, and again, a lot of companies, a lot of universities are looking for people that can take leadership roles. This time more than ever, goodness me, we've seen what's going on across the world in different countries, in education systems, in political levels. We're seeing now more than ever how important it is to have people that are willing and capable of taking on leadership roles. The world needs them now more than ever. More than ever. So not only do we look for the best leaders to run the school, and I'll be introducing you to my team a little bit later on. So we look for and we develop the best leaders at senior leadership level, middle leadership level, but your children too. We'll be looking at how we can help them develop their skills to lead. both within the English college community, but in years to come across the world. And character. We want to develop your children's passions, interests and character. So last year we introduced, we made several changes at leadership level. And I'll be introducing some of these key people to you a little bit later on. So obviously as principal, I oversee the whole school. So Mark, I'm the principal. Lisa Denham, will be introduced to you later, heads up everything operational. So basically everything to do with the running of the school, I leave it to Lisa. And then everything academic, I have a leadership team of 4 that work with me. Again, I'll be introducing you to them a little bit later on in the presentation. But the difference this year, compared to 2 years ago, is we see ourselves as a 3-phase school. So whatever year group your child is in, if they're in FS through to year 5, you'll hear us talking to them or referring to them as primary. If they're year 6 to year 9, you'll hear us referring them to them as middle school students. And year 10 to year 13, senior school. And you probably already made the connections with the heads of school, but if not, I'll be introducing them in a little while. Okay, so it's been a busy summer. It's been a hugely busy summer. And actually, it's not going to let up until Sunday, and even beyond. Just want to share some of the highlights of the summer that we felt as parents you would want to hear. I'm conscious that I'm talking to families here who have children as young as year 1, potentially even foundation, through to year 13 or year 12. So for some parents, this is probably less relevant, but I still think it's important that you understand the context of the English college. So a couple of weeks ago, we announced our A-level results and our AS results. These are the qualifications that take students to university. Now, obviously, this will all be shared with you later, so don't panic if you can't assimilate all of it, but I just wanted to really point out some real successes. First of all, if you compare in the top table our 2020 results to our 2019 results, obviously, against all benchmarks, we were delighted that we'd see real progress from last year. So we were really pleased about that. You're probably aware that there was a certain degree of frustration over the last couple of weeks with the awarding of grades across schools across the world that follow British curriculum exams. We were very, very careful when we submitted our grades to exam boards to make sure that we felt they were a fair reflection of our students. So we felt ethically we were giving the grades that we could A, justify, and B, we felt were a really good fit. So although these are school awarded grades now, because obviously we're missing exams, we feel that they're a very accurate indication of what students deserve. Obviously one of the key comparisons is how do we do against UK, because we're a British curriculum school. And if you look at the bottom table, for example, the number of entries at A star to A in UK, the average is 19.7. Whereas in our school, if you look at the top 2, which is 46%, so 46% are going to 19.7. Sorry, 37% with A star to A on the top 10. 37% of this school get A star to A's. In the UK, 19%. So again, as you'd expect, because of the nature of the community, significantly above UK measures. The thing I would stress about the school, and we'll talk about this a lot more throughout, is that we are inclusive. We're not selective. So there's 2 things to bear in mind when we look at any of this data. First of all is that it is attainment, and I'll talk about this in a little while, but it also is an inclusive school. We are inclusive. So in that context, these results are particularly impressive and particularly proud of them. Likewise at GCSE, our GCSE results this year, again, in most benchmarks compared to 2020, we were up on last year's results. And again, compared to UK national averages, we're very significantly higher. So again, for example, I take the top row of each table, 26% of our students were awarded an A star or a 9 to 8, whereas 14.4 in UK. So again, we were delighted because our results were higher than last year, but also significantly higher than the UK. As I said, for many parents, that's a long, long way away. But I think it gives you a flavour of no matter which year group your child is in, we do obviously develop students to fulfil their potential. And as Nicole mentioned, she's doing this in year 1. So if you're a year 1 parent or a year 2, we very much hope your child will be with us until year 13 or year 11, and then obviously these are the kind of results that we aspire for the children to achieve. Those in primary, sorry, go back. So the results I just shared are about attainment. But what matters probably more for us is about the progress your children are on make. So for example, there are some schools that are selected in Dubai and across the world. You'd expect their students all to be getting A stars and A's. That's not what we're about, because we are inclusive. So what matters for us is the progress that your children make. So whenever they join the school, and then when they leave the school, how much progress do we add to your child's experience? We say, how much value do we add? Every child has a different starting point. All of your children in the school will be starting at a different point. And we're interested in their starting point, and when they leave, how much progress have we made compared to an average school, if you like. And one of the strengths of this school, as an inclusive school, is that in all of our subjects at A-level and GCSE, the majority made outstanding progress. In other words, well in excess of what would be expected normally. And 28% was still well above normal. So in other words, what I'm trying to say there is, when your child arrives, when they leave, they will get an exceptional experience that will ensure that they make more progress than perhaps normal schools. Okay, and we've gone to great destinations. So 2 weeks ago we celebrated lots of students going to a range of courses across the world. So our students, our graduates, go on some exciting and varied experiences across the world. Obviously we don't test in primary formally, other than GL tests. So the only data we can share with you at the moment, these didn't happen this year because of the lockdown. But in previous years, we do tests for the KHDA, and all of our tests in the primary were outstanding. And again, that's measuring progress. So your children in primary make outstanding progress according to all the KHDA benchmarks. Okay, that was really exciting, and we really celebrated and were delighted with the GCSE results, so that was one of the highlights of the summer. The other highlight is that the work that has been going on the secondary site, we celebrated 1 million hours on the project a week ago. 1 million hours. The final completion has happened. So as you'll see later, we are still cleaning, but a really exciting time for the school. We celebrated 1 million hours and the final closure of the project. So just sharing some of the images of what the new site looks like. Lots and lots of different facilities. We have new science labs, new art studios in secondary, we have new libraries in primary and secondary. We've got more sporting facilities. We even have underground parking for the luxury. We have specialist sixth form areas where the sixth form can work, study. They have leisure facilities, but an opportunity for them to really enjoy a special sixth form experience. We are quite staggered that we'll be welcoming over 800 students next week, which is quite remarkable. Obviously, we're delighted. So your child will be one of over 800 others from a range of 65 different nationalities. So we're really excited about welcoming everybody back in next week. You will have received a significant amount of communication from us over the last few weeks, just talking through what the new normal is going to look like on the 30th of August. So you should have received a letter from me that explains some of the generic challenges and solutions that we've created. We should have received letters from the head of school to give more specific details. And we've also released videos, so all of your children should be able to see a video that will basically help them understand what their day is going to look like. And obviously today is also part of that process. So we are facing some strange and challenging times. But obviously our priority as a school, as a leadership team, is to make sure that the children are safe. You'll see from today that we've done our very best to make sure it is a safe environment. As from today, parents will not be able to get into school during school working hours. So this is the first and last opportunity for some time to be able to collect together. And as you have read from our communications, we are looking at, or we've created bubbles to ensure that we minimise contact across year groups as much as possible. So that gives you a brief flavour of what it's going to look like. So this floor is going to be primary in year 6. The second from the first floor of primary is going to be year 7 and 8. The old second block will be study rooms, and then the new block will be bubbles for each of the year groups. So we've created a standard operating procedure for every year group that we should obviously extend and us. Okay, I'm going to share 3 slides very quickly, just so you understand our priorities for the next year. And these are 3 slides we shared with all of our staff throughout the last week. We've had our staff in for a week. We've been working on our agenda, our strategy for the next year. I just wanted to share the 3 things with you, because I think as a parent it's important. And when I meet you over the coming weeks, whether it's virtually or in person, you will hear us referring to some of these things. I talked about high quality teaching. So as a school, we're looking at how we can take our teaching and learning to the next level. How we can use research, latest developments in cognitive science, neuroscience, to help us understand even better how your children learn, and how we can take that research and that evidence to make sure that in English College, that high quality teaching is high quality, but it's research and evidence based. So we know how your children think, how they learn, how they work, and we use that to make sure that our pedagogy personalises their learning to the highest possible degree. Talk about leadership a lot, and as a school we're determined to develop not only your children as leaders, but each other as leaders. So I talked about high expectations a little bit earlier. What I didn't mention is we have high expectations of your children, but I have similar expectations of my leadership team and of all of my staff. Big making effect. If I have high expectations of my team, of them, of myself, then we'll perform accordingly. And obviously there's school leadership and developing leadership and making sure that all of our leaders, whether it's senior leadership, middle leadership, or even student leadership, we help people develop those leadership qualities to set them up on the journey for the rest of their lives. And I mentioned social capital. One of the special things about school is we have high social capital here. And as a school, one of our priorities for the coming year is to continue to build on that. To look at ways in which we can enhance even further our relationships with each other, our relationships with you, and with the students. One of our ratings that was outstanding with the KGA is the quality of our pastoral care. We want to make it even better. Okay, so some key people. You've heard a lot from me. I've referred to a number of these people already, so I'd like to introduce them to you now very quickly. I have Fahad Aloui. Fahad is a Vice Principal. He's in charge of curriculum and standards across the school. Any questions about curriculum, any questions about standards, he is the man. David Wilcock, many people have met. David is head of primary. Any questions about FS1 to year 5, David is the man. Darryl Sims, again, many people have already been in contact with Darryl. Darryl is head of middle school, year 6 to year 9. Emily Hopkinson, we're delighted to welcome Emily. She's new to the leadership team. She joins us from KL, actually from the same school that I was at. And Emily will be in charge of senior school, year 10 to year 13. She is your lady. Okay, then you all have met Cheryl, but I just wanted to bring her to advise her. So Cheryl's obviously in charge of admissions. Any questions about admissions, Cheryl is the person. Caroline, some reason, okay, it was late last night. So Caroline, I left that blank on purpose because Caroline, she multitasks. So Caroline assists in admissions, but she's also our parent liaison person. So you will have received communication from both Caroline and Cheryl. Cheryl's will be very admission specific, but Caroline is more general. So you'll hear lots of Caroline as our parent liaison person. And Hala, we've already had a question about KTA contracts. So Hala's our Arabic secretary. Anything KTA or regulatory related, Hala is the person to deal with that. I mentioned a few times that we are an inclusive school. It's one of the great strengths of the school and one of the things that we are most proud of. And our head of inclusion is Rabia. So Rabia is in charge of inclusion in English College. There are a number of you have been in contact with her already. And finally, I mentioned on our leadership team slide that Lisa Denham joins in February as our head of operations. So Lisa Denham is here. Anything operational, she manages all of the operational sides of the school. So if you haven't already, you may well be in contact with Lisa over the coming weeks. So they're key people. Okay, what time is it? 9:30. Perfect. Okay, so while we've got the team here, I thought this would be a good opportunity to ask for you to ask any questions, whether it's primary, middle, or senior, curriculum, admissions, inclusion, contracts. So, anybody have any questions? Yeah.
We have to provide our primary education.
Sorry.
Do we have to provide our primary education?
Stationary and primary kids, David.
Okay, stationary primary, we're expected to bring their own pencil case, their own pens, pencils, rulers, rubbers, etc. But books are provided. The books, the exercise books that they use, stay in a tray, stay with that child the whole day. That's not moving away. But their own stationery, they bring them up.
Like what kind of stationery? Like feathers, crayons? Are these should be provided, or just the pencil and the eraser and the ruler?
Yes, just pencils, an eraser, anything else that the child needs will be provided by the class teacher, but just usual standard pencils, rulers, thread.
As soon as I know communications. Okay, a lot of this information, I know you've been swamped with it, but in the standard operating procedures that we shared with you, some of these questions will hopefully be answered, or in the parent handbook. Have you sent that out, Sharon? So, yeah, there should be a lot of information in there. Any more questions? Yes?
Thank you for your presentation. I like the bit about head of inclusion.
Yep.
What about learning support?
So that's inclusion encompasses all aspects of inclusion. Yeah. So within inclusion, it's important to stress actually that inclusion covers students who have specific learning needs. It includes students who are particularly gifted in something. It could be that they have language issues. So inclusion is a broad range of learning needs, but it encompasses many different things. Okay, I'm going to get really fit after this. Yeah. Key lessons. Primary, middle, senior. Key lessons.
Okay, I can
David, move the microphone and pass it around.
Hello? Yes. Okay, so primary PE, what's happening is primary PE teachers, or specialist teachers from middle and senior, they come and take the children for PE lessons, but those lessons are non-contact lessons. So it's very much about children working in their own space. They go together as a bubble. The bubble is stayed all day, same for PE, and they will do non-contact things. For example, if